Good afternoon, YouTube. Today I'm doing a clip on the CBC interview by VASSY KAPELOS interviewing the Bloc Québécois leader, Francois Blanchet. Essentially what I like about VASSY is she gets down to the point with the hypocrisy of the leaders in Parliament. So let me just play the clip for you, and I may intervene a few times, but I want you to see this interview. It's absolutely remarkable how bad and how ideologically possessed Francois Blanchet is, and out of touch with reality. Thank you for watching.
Economy hard, and it's a double whammy for the oil sector. The federal government has already put up $2.4 billion in support for the industry, but it's under some pressure to do more. Today, though, opposition leaders, some of them, said that would be a bad move. Take a listen.
Don't put money in fossil fuels at all to try to bail them out. It won't work.
I think tar sands are condemned.
We need to make good investments that allow people to have long-term, sustainable, good jobs.
Tar sands won't be back. Putting any more money in that business is a very bad idea.
We need to look at the industries, any industry, and make sure that we're making sustainable decisions.
So basically you're saying oil is dead.
Oil is dead.
Ideologically
Why do some
possessed.
opposition leaders say it's the end of the oil sands? Let's find out. I'm joined by Yves-François Blanchet, leader of the Bloc Québécois. He's with us from the House of Commons foyer. Hi, Mr. Blanchet. Good to see you again. Thanks for being with us.
A pleasure.
I want to ask you, of course, about help for seniors, because it's something you've brought up in the House of Commons very often. But first, I just want to get your comments based on something that was discussed earlier today. Green Party MP Elizabeth May stated that, quote, oil is dead. You were asked whether you agree with her. You said you did, but not as categorically, not that all oil was completely dead, but that the oil sands were, quote, condemned and, quote, won't be coming back. Why do you think it is the end of the oil sands specifically?
The fact is, I do not control the market. We are all observing the fact. Either we want to hide our head in the sand or not. That the oil that's in that sand is not something that the international markets will want anymore. Not because of the nature of this oil, though according to me that would be a good enough reason because of the impact on the environment, but because of the costs of extracting this oil and getting it to the market. The markets are reacting already. The prices are very low, and it seems to me that if it is legitimate to wish for Alberta to get back to the level of employment in that industry that was there before the crisis, it is not relevant to get any more money investing into an industry that will not be self-sufficient in any time in the future while extracting and trying to exploit oil sands. So that's the reason why I'm saying that. But I also said...
Okay, so this guy is not only a hypocrite, but actually ignorant, or deliberately ignorant, of the oil that Quebec actually imports from Alberta, which can be found right here, provincial and territorial profiles. Guess where Quebec gets its oil. So this is 2012 here, and then this is 2017. Canada, 44%. I wonder where they get their oil from. So it's, of course, Alberta. In addition, this is the one I really wanted to show you. Canada's oil imports from Saudi Arabia on the rise since 2014. So one of the reasons why oil is so cheap right now, as everybody knows that did a little bit of research, is that Saudi Arabia is known for attacking the markets whenever they feel like it. So what they do is they saturate the market with an extravagant amount of surplus oil. And even if they lose money, they're so rich that they don't care, essentially. It's as simple as I can put it. So they saturate the market with excess oil and drive the price down artificially. And they do it to punish enemies. They did it under Obama's reign to punish the Russians for the Syrian war. And they're doing it now to punish the United States for actually becoming self-sufficient. What Blanchette doesn't really understand is that the petroleum industry is not even, you couldn't even say it's dead. There's no room for that. The amount of growth that it's growing at a tremendous rate, and if you're not making money off it. That's the stupidest plan that a human being could conceive. It's like you have a massive gold mine, but you refuse to mine the gold out of some hypothetical ideal, because the gold is dirty. That's what he's trying to say. And in addition, Quebec is actually betraying Canada by purchasing oil from Saudi Arabia and Algeria. And, you know, I can find so much information. Last year here, total volume of Canadian imports from Saudi Arabia has increased 66%. Quebec is importing that oil and refining it. You see, 3.4 billion, importing 6.4 million cubic meters of Saudi oil. So not only are they buying from our competitors and our enemies, because Saudi Arabia doesn't have the same principles as Canada, for starters, it's like you're killing our industry with it's the perfect proof that they actually hate Alberta, and they're deeply jealous of Alberta's prosperity, and they want it to end. Okay, so let's just go on.
That I would support the idea for the federal government to invest, to take those $10 billion that are to be invested in Trans Mountain, which is not a good idea anyway.
There it is. Yep.
Most of it into some transition into the new economy that has to be built for Western Canada and Alberta, because the future is there.
There you go.
Let's give them most of that money, because they need to invest in some new energies, some new technologies, some new industries,
Yes,
for
not
in order
oil.
to build
Yep.
a better future for themselves.
Yeah,
A real future.
for you, because they don't want us. See how he tried to destroy our economy.
That will not have such an impact on environment
There
and
you go.
the industries on which they depend for the time being.
I'm still not clear on why that's unique to the oil sands. We've seen, for example, depressed demand for all kinds of oil right across the world. And my follow-up to that for you, Mr. Blanchette, is that about 45% of the oil Quebec depends on right now, or takes right now, comes from Western Canada. So if
Exactly.
the oil sands, in fact, are gone, or dead, as you say,
Where will you
then where
get
does
it?
Quebec get that oil
Saudi
from?
Arabia.
I would say that this thinking, it just doesn't work like that. Quebec is buying its oil from Western United States and Western Canada
Yes.
for the time being.
But if it's dead,
And
why are you doing it?
instead of using that as an argument against Quebec, Western Canada should say, thank you. Were you not there to buy that oil?
Thank
and
you.
they're not making us any special price of anything. They would be in a even worse shape than they are now.
Yeah. So, and he's out of touch with reality, because Canadian oil is the cheapest anywhere in the world, as everybody knows. No, I reject his premise. He's just trying to talk around the question.
We will need some oil for the coming years. And I'm not saying you have to stop everything. I never said anything
Yes, you
like that.
did.
Get back to where you were before. The market will keep getting lower and lower through time. It will take some time. I'm just saying that do not invest anymore in that for future developments. There's no logic in it. That's what I am
Why
saying.
are you buying
So,
it still then?
get back to where you were. Let's support Alberta to get back to where it was before the crisis, but do not invest any more of those billions of dollars into tar sands, because there's no future. Because the market is such that the price, the investment required, to extract this oil is far too high compared to what is exploited elsewhere in the world.
It's high because of the environmental restrictions and demands and political bureaucracy that they're putting around that you yourself encourage. What will happen when he plays out the results of his machinations? Most of the oil purchased by Quebec, instead of being purchased from Alberta, will be purchased from the United States, from Saudi Arabia, Algeria, and South America. Like, nonsense.
So there will be no market at such a price.
So, Mr. Blanchet,
Why are
when
you
say
still
that
part
it's
of the
okay
market?
to get Alberta back to where it was before the crisis, would you support then the federal government providing some kind of bailout to bigger oil companies to get back to where they were prior to the crisis?
I am, let's say, I do not entirely trust the government to do the right thing about the way this should be done.
There, I agree.
I fear that through some measures, the government will be tempted to put our collective finger into the machine, and we couldn't get it out of there in the future. We have to be very careful, and we have not to become collectively responsible for this industry in order to have us trapped into it for many years still. This is not the plan. This is not the idea. We have to create a plan that will help not the oil industry, but the real people of Alberta, who deserve as well as we do.
But those people,
Get
with
out of
respect,
this crisis.
We
those
want our
people are
jobs
employed
back.
by the industry. Those people are employed by the companies in the industry.
Exactly. Yes.
And the idea is to have them employed by somebody else, by
That's
some
the idea.
Somebody else, you're killing our
With respect,
industry.
that's the idea.
By something.
The idea is not a reality
I'm
right
sorry.
now. With respect, the idea is not a reality right now. Tens of thousands of Albertans are without
if,
employment.
You know,
Yes.
something that we do not change will not change. We have to make a decision and make it happen. That's the best thing that could happen.
It will
to
take
them.
so much
Either
time.
I want it or not. Either you want it or not.
No, we
Some
don't want
years
it.
From now,
What we have
there
is
won't be
excellent
any more
already.
of this stuff out there on the market because there's no money to make out of it. And added to that, there's the fact that it's terribly bad for the environment.
No, it's
As
not.
we are seeing now, when we use less of that oil and any other oil, the whole planet fares much better.
Hypocrite.
Except the place where I get lost in the logic, again, Mr. Blanchet, is that it's not as if Quebec is using a lot less of it. In 2018, more than 10 billion liters of gas were purchased in Quebec, a single year record. It was the 6th consecutive year of record sales of light trucks, which of course includes SUVs.
See how
and
he's so
minivans.
condescending?
Again, nearly half of
You
the
have
oil
it
is
facts.
coming
There's
from
your
Asia.
But I
fact.
can go into a debate.
But half of
Yeah,
the oil
but
that
there's
Quebec
no
is
debate.
getting is coming from Western Canada. If you're not supportive of
I
the
don't know
industry
how many
there,
times I
how do you
have to
expect to
repeat
get
the
that?
same thing.
What
Well,
an
one more
idiot.
I don't know how many times I have to repeat the same thing. Okay. We get oil from Alberta.
Yeah.
We pay for it.
Yeah.
They don't give us
Why,
any
if
special
you're
price,
against the
so they
industry, you
should
buy
thank
oil.
us, not send us chains of insults. First thing.
Chains of
Second thing.
insults.
Through time, this oil won't have a market. Either it is in Quebec or anywhere.
Why are you still buying
Because
it?
it is far too expensive to exploit.
No, it's
I
not.
am not the bad guy being responsible for that.
Yes, you are contributing
So
to
the
it.
whole planet should consume less and less and less oil. And what I'm
not.
saying is we should help Alberta make a transition in its economy in order to build something which will be lasting for the best interest of the people of Alberta. Either they work for oil or something which is more green. They need a job. I agree with that.
Yeah, what are you
And
doing
is
to
clear
get it?
That there is no long-term future for that kind of industry. So let's help them go somewhere else. That's the very
Go
idea.
somewhere
I take your point. I
If it
understand.
uses more oil,
It takes
is
decades
it is
for
not
that
a
to be
reason say,
established
okay,
already.
Let's keep doing something which is wrong because some people in Quebec do it.
But it still
We are
doesn't
doing
answer the
far
question
better
of
than
where
anybody
Quebec
else,
gets that
and
oil then.
Yeah.
I
See this guy? You're
it
so
can come from
petty.
anywhere. And again, I have the impression I'm speaking with Mr. Kenny here. Again, we do not say that you should stop using oil coming from Alberta as it was before.
What?
I'm saying, and I repeat again, and I'm sure you understood the first time,
No,
that they
let's hear it.
should be invited to be back where they were before.
What does that even mean?
Which includes the fact that we presently buy large part of our oil from Western Canada.
Doesn't make any
It seems
sense.
quite clear to me. So there's no
You
question
want to be in the industry, but you don't want to be in the industry.
about where we would take our own oil from.
You want to profit from
And
it.
we do not even expect some thanks, but there might be. So that's not a question. That's not even the beginning of the problem.
With respect, Mr. Blanchet, it's my job to challenge
That's
the
right.
position that you're putting forward. On the subject of
Yeah, he's very, very rude. I mean, he's treating VASSY like she's like a child. Oh, you don't understand. I'll repeat myself again. How arrogant. This guy is so... If I had a perfect example of that anti-Alberta sentiment, there it is. And I'm so grateful to VASSY that she does her best to expose this guy for the nonsense, his hypocrisy that he is. You know, a lot of these people benefit, everybody benefits from the Alberta oil in one way or another, and especially that province. They benefit from purchasing the oil, of course. They benefit from the equalization payments made by Alberta to Quebec for decades and decades since the old Trudeau. You know, who are they to say that Alberta doesn't carry its weight, that doesn't carry even more than what's necessary or just? These people, you know, I'm so happy that VASSY exposed it, and I would say that this is one of the perfect videos, examples of why Quebec should separate or Alberta should separate because of Quebec. It's, you know, I can't say that all Quebecers feel that way, but the fact that they can nominate a position like that and he is elected does show me the anti-Alberta sentiment of those people. Because how else could he be elected? You know, maybe... My point is, I don't want to create animosity between the provinces, but we have a massive problem with anti-Alberta, anti-oil sands sentiment that exists, and it cannot. It's a jealousy that has to be nullified. Either you're with us or you're not. And if you're not, we don't want to cooperate with you. Why should we sell anything to you? Why should we give any equalization to you? You know? Look at this grinning, condescending person. No character, no gentleman behavior. He's such a condescending fool. It's like, anyway, I am creating this video for the purpose to expose that kind of behavior, because I do feel that VASSY should get more publicity, since she's trying her best to expose that kind of nonsense behavior. And I do appreciate very much her questioning, and it's wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.